Tonight on News 5 Live, more details become available about phased return to school. Asian bean pest threatens Belizean crops. Confiscated aircrafts sold by GOB. And Belizeans tune in to watch the Jaguars in Haiti. These stories and more coming up in tonight's newscast.
In these challenging times, the one thing that is certain is that the Belize Bank Limited is here for you. There is nothing more important than your health and safety, and we continue to make every effort to make banking safer for you. Our staff is working around the clock to make sure you can do your banking conveniently 24/7 using our mobile banking app and online banking and keeping ATMs up and running. We value your relationship with us and are here to provide the support you need. First responders are also out there 24/7. Thank you, healthcare workers, security forces, firefighters, caregivers. You are all appreciated. Stay safe. We will get through this together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
It's a fact that you can access unlimited services with Smart. Tired of being measured or cut off when you need to be connected? It's a fact that when you sign up for Smart's Plus plan, you get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data. And it's a fact that you can sign up with your group of up to 5 members for Smart's Share plans and up to 40 members for Smart's Enterprise plans for unlimited talk, text, and data. Smart has the true unlimited plans. That's a fact. Be smart and live smart.
I was born in Belize City and I moved around a lot until I settled here in Belmopan. I'm technically a second-generation insurance agent. My grandmother was in the industry for over 40 years. I saw the love she had for what she did and the love she had for her customers. It wasn't just about providing a service, but it was about creating friendships. I am your neighbor, I am your friend. I am your RF&G agent.
Find your nearest RF&G agent on our website at rfginsuranceBelize.com, where it pays to get it right.
It's been a year of lockdowns, losses, and separation from loved ones. As life slowly begins to return to normal, Channel 5 invites you and your family to join us on TV, Facebook, or YouTube for a News 5 special report from panic to pandemic, COVID-19 a year later. We look back at the people, the events, and the struggle Belizeans will never forget. Thursday, March 25th at 8 p.m. right here on Channel 5.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Thursday, March 25th. I am Sabrina Daly. As we reported on Wednesday, Cabinet has approved the phased return of face-to-face instruction of schools at all levels and sectors across the country. Since September of 2020, secondary and tertiary students have been attending virtual classes, while learning packages were distributed to primary schoolers. But beginning April 12th, schools who believe that they have all the requirements set in place can commence in-person learning once again. If they miss that date, there is also an opportunity on May 10th, 6 weeks before the close of the 2020 school year. That aside, all institutions must reopen for some level of face-to-face instruction at the start of the 2021 school year in late August, early September. The school's management simply needs to apply to the Ministry of Education for approval.
We are not saying that all schools will be open on April 12th. That is not the case. What we're saying is that any school that's ready, any school that feels that, we have everything in place and we want to begin to bring our students back, can begin to do so in phases. There's a form to be filled out. It's a simple form and it collects first the demographics on the school, so we know what district you're in, what's your level, and then it asks the school to give us information on how they want to return. So what groups will come back? And the groups can really be, it's at the discretion of the school. If it's a high school, for example, the high school can choose to bring back fourth formers first. Or they can do first formers because first formers have never been on the campus of their school. Or a primary school might say, we'll bring back standard 6 students, or we'll bring back standard 1 students, so we can do a literacy screening and start to work with them to see how well they're reading. Or schools can also choose to bring back maybe the students who are the weakest academically, because they're going to need the most support to be brought back up to level. Or the school might decide that we'll bring back all the students, but we'll do it in shifts. We cannot say, for example, we have a school with 500 students and we're going to open the gates and 500 will come back every day from 8 to 3, because that's not going to happen. That's not going to be allowed.
So, schools are going to have to get innovative with their learning continuity plans. CEO in the Ministry of Education, Diane Mahia, speaks of blended learning as a possible new normal.
If you want to bring back all your students, you have to find a way to stagger your schedules, shift your days, and schools really are so creative. What we know is that schools already have learning continuity plans. They built them last year, and they've been revising them, reviewing them, and the learning continuity plans are specific to the schools themselves. So my school knows what will work for us. Your school knows what will work for you. We have to be prepared to shift our plans and be prepared that the reality for schools moving forward may well be a blended reality. It may be a hybrid reality, and so really part of the benefit of beginning now in this way is that the schools are going to begin to test their procedures, because they have wonderful plans. They have all the procedures set in place. They know in theory and on paper how they think this will work and how it should work and how it could work. But now in bringing the groups in increments, in phases, they're going to be able to evaluate and see.
CEO Mahia says that schools are advised to recognize the economic realities of parents and not make mandatory specific shoes, books, and uniforms. Phase 2 of the COVID vaccination rollout is currently underway, where teachers are now allowed to get their jabs as an added protection against the deadly virus. Like some frontline healthcare workers, there are a number of teachers who are not willing to get vaccinated. During our one-on-one interview with CEO Diane Mahia of the Ministry of Education, she said that it is not mandatory for teachers to be vaccinated.
Vaccination is not mandatory, so we cannot force any teacher to get vaccinated. We strongly encourage, we're recommending. It was an effort. We had to lobby really hard to try to make sure that the teachers would be moved up in the phases so that they would be able to get the vaccine. That was part of trying to make sure that all the conditions would be in place for us to begin to return to school. But the return to school is not conditional based on whether or not a teacher has received a vaccination.
Back in June of last year, 4 airplanes that were seized during drug plane landing in the country were sold by the Barrow administration for under $1 million Belize dollars. The business jets were said to be in a state of disrepair, that is, and sold via a bidding process as a joint venture between the former Ministry of National Security and the Ministry of Finance. Well, News 5 has confirmed that 1 month ago in February 2021, the Briseno administration sold 4 additional aircraft. Our news team has obtained a leaked copy of the approval letter, which says that the Minister of Finance approved the waiver of boarding and sale 4 uni-serviceable airplanes for only $540,000, inclusive of all taxes and duties. The aircrafts, which are located at the Philip Golson International Airport, Crooked Tree Village, and the BDF Air Wing, are 2 Grumman Gulfstream G2 aircrafts, one white and the other tan, and 2 Hawker Siddeley HS-125 aircrafts. Today, Minister of National Defense and Border Security, Florencio Marin Jr., was questioned about the transaction.
While we are the custodians of those things, those are done through the Office of the Ministry of Finance. I think the question better directed there. Me, for national security reasons, prefer not to say anything on it.
Sir, but as the minister responsible for these assets, wouldn't you have been informed prior to the sale?
Again, I won't comment on those details.
Okay, sir. Well, by any chance, do you have any details in a whole on the aircrafts? They were listed as unserviceable, but what we have also seen in the Commission of Inquiry, most of the vehicles that were listed as unserviceable were in fact in good condition.
Again, I'm not commenting on our national security issues, so that is, totally different kettle of fish.
A Mexican accused of landing a drug plane in Belize, Miguel Cruz, was taken before the magistrate's court on Tuesday. But the prosecution was not prepared to carry on with the case against him, so the matter was further adjourned until March 30th. Cruz was one of 6 Central American men who were facing drug trafficking-related offenses. The group was accused of landing a plane loaded with almost 3,000 pounds of cocaine off the coastal road in September 2020. The others were 3 Hondurans and 2 Ecuadorians who were charged with possession of controlled drugs and landing in aircraft without permission from the Minister of Civil Aviation. They were freed in January for lack of evidence. However, the police maintain they have sufficient evidence against Michel to prosecute him. Coming up, Belize Jaguars play their first game in Haiti, and gains some international attention. Stay with us.
Do you need to apply for a Social Security card? With our newest online service, My Social Security, applying for a card just got easier. With a My Social Security account, you can apply for a card anytime and anywhere, putting you in control. To use this service, you must first create your My Social Security account. Visit our website. Under Online Services, select My Social Security, provide your personal information, and await activation of your new account. After activation, you are free to log in to your My Social Security account to complete your online application for a Social Security card. Be sure to book your registration appointment to finish the card application process. Gain control and truly experience Social Security at your fingertips.
The contamination of water we all depend on is a very urgent issue. As Belize's popularity and industries grow, challenges increase. In this episode, we will examine the issue of water pollution in Belize. Water pollution is the contamination of water bodies, usually because of human activities. Water bodies include lagoons, rivers, aquifers, and oceans. On the marine side, the discharge of sewage and bilge water from cruise ships and other live-aboard vessels, in combination with unregulated development of coastal areas, has led to the degradation of marine ecosystems such as mangroves and coral reefs. Our inland waters are facing their own challenges. As agricultural development increases, pesticides, fertilizers, and waste products are running off into rivers. Increased river traffic from boat tours and sugar barges adds to the already stressful conditions of the freshwater ecosystems. In addition, companies that collect sewage sometimes dump the waste right into the waterways. Additionally, in densely populated areas like Belize City and Orange Walk, poor sewage designs result in the contamination of groundwater and of water bodies by both sewage and wash water. In many cases, homes and businesses dump their wastewater directly into drains, which leads to rivers and the sea. Wastewater, detergents, and petroleum collect in drains that empty into waterways, such as the New River and the Belize River. This, along with the runoff and discharges from the agricultural and industrial businesses, have been inadequately monitored and enforced. The answers to overcoming water pollution issues are fourfold: improved infrastructure, adequate treatment, increased legislation and monitoring, and of course, changing our habits for the better. While it is urgent that better management on a policy level is needed, there are a few things we can do at home to help. Ensure proper treatment systems are installed for all wastewater at your home and business. Don't dispose of oil from your automobiles or cooking and household detergents down the drain. And lastly, minimize the usage of chemicals and fertilizers and report any dumping into waterways to the Department of the Environment. The government has recognized the threat of inadequate liquid waste management and is working toward goals of reducing and reversing its effects. For more information on what's being done about water pollution and ways you can help, visit our website at doe.gov.bz. I'm Alison Castillo, and now you know.
The Belize Jaguars are on their way home after failing to Haiti's men's national team this evening in the first of a two-game series of World Cup qualifiers. A ticket to the big dance in Qatar next year means that the Jaguars would have to place at the top of its group in CONCACAF. While there is optimism that the newly revamped team has star potential, its first outing was a test of fortitude, considering what took place upon their arrival in Haiti on March 22nd. With more on the details of their away game, Isani Caetano reports.
The first round of World Cup qualifiers between Haiti and Belize got underway at 3 o'clock this afternoon at the Stade Sylvia Cator in Port-au-Prince. The match drew very little fanfare for various reasons, including the ongoing political unrest as well as the COVID-19 pandemic. After an uneventful first half, the Belize Jaguars fell 1-0 when defender Ricardo Ade registered the first point on the scoreboard at the 50th minute of regulation time. It would not be until half an hour later that the Haitian team would add another goal to their tally when a shot from Steven Seance found the back of Woodrow West's net. Belize and Haiti are competing in a home and away series in Group E. Haiti presently leads that category with 3 points, while Belize's standings in that same category is at 4th, just above St. Lucia. On Monday, the Jaguars were frazzled following an incident during which assault rifles were drawn and pointed at their tour bus shortly after arriving in Haiti's capital city. The team was making its way to their hotel when they encountered a flock of armed bikers who drew down on their police escort. Despite no one being injured during the standoff, members of the team as well as the coaching staff were shaken up after the incident, and serious concerns about their safety amid the upheaval were subsequently raised. When a season match commissioner arrived on the island a day later, an investigation was carried out, after which a decision was made for the match to proceed. It is expected that the Jaguars will return home to Belize by the weekend, and preparations for the team's second match against Haiti will commence at the FFB Stadium in Belmopan. Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
The story of what happened to the Belize Jaguars when they landed in Port-au-Prince on Monday has gotten considerable international sports coverage. CBS Sports to TMZ, Al Jazeera, and even the Times of India have circulated the news about the team's bus being pulled over by armed men as they left the airport and the negotiations for their release with Haitian police. The men were identified as members of the Phantom 509 gang by Ons Sherry on Twitter. CBS News reported that members of the Haitian Football Federation visited the Belize delegation on Monday evening to express their solidarity and offer their support. The qualifier is part of the first round of CONCACAF games for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Belize has never qualified for the World Cup finals, while Haiti qualified only once in 1974. A thrip pest threatens Belize's grains industry, which includes black and red beans, white and yellow corn, soybean, black-eyed peas, rice, and sorghum. It is the first time that the Asian bean thrip has been detected in Belize, and the second report of the Americas since March of last year. The pest was first noticed by farmers in northern Orange Walk in early February, who reported heavy infestation. Investigations later found that the tiny sucking insects have been affecting red kidney beans, black-eyed peas, and some leguminous crops. Luckily, 90% of the bean crop for this year escaped the brunt of the infestation. The importance of these proteins is twofold. They provide food security, but also foreign exchange because they are exported regionally and internationally. The Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise held a press conference today to provide update on the potentially alarming situation.
This pest is distributed throughout the country. However, the northern part of the country seems to be more affected, a little less so the western part of the country, and in declining order as far as Toledo. The main hosts of this pest include beans of all varieties, inclusive of red kidney bean, black eye, pinto, etc. It also affects black-eyed peas quite severely, but it's known to affect other leguminous crops such as soybean, pigeon pea, lima bean, and even peanuts. We have found them in soybean and peanuts as well here in Belize.
Having run into problems with the availability of RK beans towards the ending of 2020, we thought that we had to get more information with respect to what was being produced and what crop was actually being affected. What we discovered was that the damage of this insect was primarily on black-eyed peas. Now, black-eyed peas are normally exported to CARICOM and other countries in the world. We, as a country, do not utilize too much black-eyed peas. So, to a certain extent, that was a relief. However, I can state that beans are important for Belize. About 6,000 acres in production. However, the damage was between 45 to 50%. The estimated value of that 6,000 crop was about $8.4 million. So you can do the math and determine the level of losses that were incurred in the black-eyed peas, primarily in Corozal, Orange Walk, and Cayo.
The concern for the future planting of the bean crop is real because the pest cannot be eradicated. So a task force has been formed to devise a plan to manage the Asian bean thrip.
We are concerned, and all measures have to be, our strategies have to be developed because the upcoming major bean crop at the end of the year and the beginning of the following year is very likely going to be affected. The pest is now fully established and it's going to rear up again when that cycle starts up. So yes, we have to have sound strategies by then to be able to fight this pest. Mainly a very strict monitoring program so that as soon as it's detected, then actions can be taken so it doesn't blow out of proportions into massive populations. So we do believe that even by then, natural control in the environment is going to kick in and also help in suppressing the very high populations of this pest.
The task force includes representatives from the ministry, the Belize Agricultural Health Authority, BAHA, the Regional Organization for Agricultural Health for Central America, or USA, the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, CARDI, the Pest Control Board, and grain producers. After the break, much needed equipment for the Coast Guard, and Belize may be getting an American ambassador soon.
Hi, I'm Ashanti. I can't wait to download eCash, a digital payment tool designed to enable users and businesses to conduct transfers, bill payments, and payment for goods and services digitally using mobile phone. Did I mention eCash is powered by Belize Bank? Since I don't have a bank account, eCash will allow me to send and receive money within seconds with my family and friends, so I don't have to worry about how I will send funds without having a bank account. My mom, though, has a bank account at Belize Bank, and she will be able to register using an easy verification process and enjoy higher transactional limits. I don't need to have any documents to register for eCash and only need to answer a couple of questions. The registration process is fast and easy. Finally, even though I'm not 18 as yet, I can start to use the financial system and stop worrying about physical cash. Let me tell you about my daily routine and how eCash will help me to reduce the usage of cash while managing my time and finances efficiently. On my way to work, I usually stop to buy a quick breakfast and coconut water. At work, I'm usually the one who orders lunch for everybody. With eCash powered by Belize Bank, I will now be able to collect payment from my coworkers. And for those who are short on cash, I will be able to send them a request for payment to pay me back. All they need to do is to confirm the amount I sent them. Easy as that. Part of my family lives in Orange Walk, and I sometimes send money to my cousins for their birthdays. Now with eCash, I can transfer funds directly to their eCash wallet. But guess what? They don't even need to be registered. My cousins will receive a text message with a link to download the eCash application. When they finalize the same easy process as I did, they will be surprised with the amount I transferred to them and will be able to take advantage of all the benefits eCash has to offer. When I have exhausted the funds on my eCash wallet, I will need to add new funds at an authorized retailer. I'll show the merchant my personal QR code and advise him of the amount I would like to cash in. Within seconds, funds will be readily available on my eCash wallet. When I turn 18, I will be able to open a bank account and add funds to my own eCash wallet by transferring money directly from my bank account via mobile or online banking. With its convenience and user-friendliness, I'm looking forward to daily using eCash. My coworkers, parents, siblings, and even my grandmother loves the idea. Grandma says all she has to do now is send us money via eCash so that we can purchase everything she needs and she can be safe at home. Next time, I'll invite my mom, who lives in Punta Gorda, to tell you about her experience using QR codes in store with eCash.
Get ready to minimize the use of cash as the future of digital payment starts now, and it's powered by eCash.
What a beautiful morning in Popsville. Time to check the crops. Uh-oh, the insects are back. Farmer Ricky plans to double his dosage to get rid of these pests once and for all. Oh no, no more insecticide. Well, off to the store we go. Hey, it's good old Joe.
Good morning, Joe. I'd like to get 4 bottles of Compound V, please. I'm double dosing to fight back the insects. Compound V, you said? It doesn't sound familiar. Let me see what you have.
Ricky, where did you get this product? It doesn't have proper label information and could be filled with highly hazardous chemicals called persistent organic pollutants. You should really get one that's POPs free, which is safer and approved for pest control. Ricky, it's time we talked about the dangers of misusing highly toxic pesticides. Some pesticides contain highly hazardous ingredients that can harm you and your loved ones if handled incorrectly. So when we improperly store pesticides, it can affect our health in the long and short term. To be safe, make sure to remember these following tips to avoid unnecessary chemical exposure. It's important to always read your label fully before using any treatment on your crops. To avoid dangerous contact with pesticides, including airborne insecticides, make sure to wear appropriate personal protective equipment. Apply the recommended chemical dosage and use far away from human contact and from active winds. To avoid cross-contamination, make sure to follow these simple steps to dispose of pesticide containers. And no matter what you do, don't throw it in any old waste bin. Always make sure to triple rinse, puncture, and store separately for proper disposal.
And for an even safer approach to pesticide use, consider switching to organic farming and other integrated pest management processes.
For more information on how to dispose of hazardous pesticides, contact your local waste management agency or visit stopthepops.com for more details. Sometimes danger lurks where you least expect it. The more you know, the healthier you can grow.
Today, the Belize Coast Guard received a hefty donation from the U.S. government in the form of outboard engines and night vision goggles to help in its crime-fighting efforts at sea. News 5's Dwayne Moody was at the ceremony held this morning and files this report.
$400,000 worth of equipment was handed over to the Belize Coast Guard today as the naval arm of the Ministry of National Defense and Border Security continues to battle against transnational criminal organizations.
Through the generosity of the United States government, we now have 6 new motorboard engines to assist the Coast Guard. We also have some night vision goggles that are going to expand the operational capability of the Coast Guard from daytime as well to nighttime. So this will make our Coast Guard much more effective in their work.
Chargé d'Affaires of the U.S. Embassy in Belize, Keith Gilgess, says that it is an investment in the Coast Guard and the region through the U.S. government's Central American Regional Security Initiative, CARSI, which has invested over $43 million in Belize.
And I say it's not a donation, it's an investment. And a Belize that's stable, prosperous, has control of its borders, has control of its seas, all that is good for Belize. It's also good for the U.S. And so when we're cooperating with the ministry, when we're cooperating with the Coast Guard and the Belize Defense Force, it's about investing in their capabilities because that's good for both countries. The transnational criminal organizations, they're sophisticated, they're smart, they got lots of money, they're working together, they're collaborating, they're also adapting and innovating. If we want to combat them, we need to be as smart, as sophisticated, or frankly, better resourced, better done. So this is an investment in that goal.
Given the recent coastal piracy, Acting Commandant Gregory Sobranis says that the investment further strengthens the Coast Guard's enforcement capabilities.
Our nighttime gear before this was limited. This will greatly enhance our ability to function at night and to conduct night operations. So this will help us tremendously as we patrol Belize maritime spaces. This will greatly enhance our ability and capacity to function at sea and to execute our mandate of maritime safety and security. And moreover, citizen security is of utmost importance to us. And definitely with these equipment, it will enable us to further expand our reach at sea and to better counter transnational organized crime.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
While we were with the Minister of National Defense and Border Security, he also spoke about the welfare of the soldiers at the Belize Defense Force. A former military man himself, Florencio Marin Jr. says that in taking up the ministry, one of his top priorities is to ensure that the living conditions of these law enforcement officers are adequate so that they can be efficient in their duties.
For the term that I will be there, however long I am there, we have to look after our soldiers so that they can do their work effectively and efficiently, patrolling our borders, as well as for our Coast Guard, patrolling the maritime waters as well. We have to look at the installations of the Price Barracks, Isles Camp, etc. A lot of work needs to be done. We need to review the equipment they use. We're having some issues with that currently. All right. I mean, so we also need to look at the overall welfare of them in terms of the hospital that they're on the camp. So it's a myriad of issues that we have that we need to just work on and push on every day until hopefully we achieve that objective quite soon.
Chargé d'Affaires Kilf Gilges of the U.S. Embassy in Belize says his mission is coming to an end in the next 4 months. President Biden is expected to appoint another ambassador to Belize later this year. And a new chargé, who will take over Gilges's own post, has already been selected.
It's not that I want to go, but my successor's already been chosen, and she's eager to get here. So yeah, so July is when I say goodbye to Belize for one final time. It has been an incredible honor. It has been the honor of my career to get to serve for these past 2.5 and ultimately be 3 years as chargé. We do look forward to the administration appointing an ambassador and somebody coming in soon. I don't have any news on that yet, but I know that ambassadors are actively under consideration by the administration. So hopefully sometime in the fall you'll get a proper ambassador here.
When we come back, UNICEF and the Statistical Institute of Belize joined forces to collect the latest data on Belizean children. Details up next.
Pelican, the beer of Belize.
As a new mom, there are moments of pride, joy, and doubt. Yes, doubt. Has he slept enough? Does she have everything that she needs? Will she be okay in the sun? These doubts come from love, for the good of baby. 2 servings of Nestum are full of all the goodness and naturalness of the cereals that your baby needs to blossom. That's one less thing to worry about. Nestum, it's all good, Mom.
Learn more online with Nestle Baby and Me.
Lord, patience with them people out here. I want to talk to the one who sit on the street, they hold their mask, they dangle it from their hand like this, or they put their mask on their chin like that, or put it round their neck like so. Or worse, they one will like they hang it from their neck like that chain. Then when they see the police they come, they hurry put the mask on their face. You don't understand the harm you do to yourself. And not only to you, to other people too. If you want to be infected with the COVID-19 virus, go through. But you have to understand, all are we affected by your fool action. Not just you. People like say they can't take the mask. What you think better? Deal with the mask fairly well or end up in a hospital? If somebody not live in the same house with you, you have to wear a mask when you're there with them. Even if they're your family or your company, you still need to wear the mask. Everybody you meet could have COVID-19. When you wear the mask the correct way, if you cover your whole nose, your whole mouth, and your chin, that's how we will protect all our way.
A message from the Pan American Health Organization, World Health Organization, the European Union, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
2020 taught us the importance of being connected to the virtual world, and NextGen is here to keep its commitment to you. Even if you're physically apart, NextGen keeps you digitally connected.
Okay everyone, thank you for following me today.
NextGen provides more than just an internet plan. They provide service plans that support all your online needs. Sign up today and get your NextGen's ultra high-speed internet service. NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
Hello? Okay, sure, I'll be there.
Hi, Mommy. When are you coming home? I really miss you.
Hearing the voice of our loved ones can always lift our spirits and make us feel whole again. With Smart's twice as nice promotion, prepaid customers who make 5 minutes worth of national calls on Sundays can enjoy 50% off. Top double on all national calls for the rest of the day. Call your loved ones and enjoy half off all day long. Smart, bringing people together.
In the excitement over Cabinet's approval of the phased reopening of primary and secondary schools beginning in April, other news from Prime Minister John Bersenio's cabinet meeting on March 23rd may have escaped public notice. While the government press office release did not give details, it noted that the union budget consultation team updated cabinet on its response to the union's latest correspondence and its intent to continue further discussion in good faith. Cabinet explained efforts by the Ministry of Finance, Economic Development and Industry to consolidate and modernize the company's law framework in Belize and approved the National Tourism Recovery Plan for a post-pandemic strategy. Recommendations by the Ministry of the Blue Economy and Civil Aviation for the modernization of Belize's aviation safety and security oversight system were also given the green light. In addition, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade and Immigration discussed the meeting between the Ministers of Foreign Affairs of Belize and the Republic of Guatemala. Both sides expressed a desire to improve the bilateral relationship, especially in the areas of trade and the implementation of the 2005 confidence-building measures. The partnership between UNICEF and the Statistical Institute of Belize to gather comparable data on women and children using a multiple indicator cluster survey has been valuable in understanding their everyday circumstances. MIX, as it is known, has also been useful in providing government with information that can be used to create policies that are in line with the Millennium Development Goals, as well as serve as baseline for monitoring the Sustainable Development Goals. This year, the MIX looked at the additional challenges facing Belizean children during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Belize is the first country to pilot the Mix Plus model, and this was done in collaboration with the UNICEF Global Mix team, together with the Statistics Institute of Belize and key line ministries impacting on the well-being of children. Mix Plus is an innovation that shows how real-time data is critical to being responsive to ever-changing realities of families and children. It uses representative subsamples of data from mixed surveys as baselines to continue collecting data via mobile phone over a period of time at frequent intervals.
You can imagine that given our current context, this innovation is timely and facilitates the gathering of data when movement of persons is restricted and impeded by national health regulations. But even in times of a pandemic, there remains the need to have insights into how families are coping and how best we can help them fulfill their responsibilities to children. It is for this reason today, I join in lauding the Mix Plus pilot as an important policy tool and thank UNICEF Belize for providing this support to enable us to meet the commitments we have made to the Belizean families.
The survey has also provided key data to assist the National Committee for Families and Children as they address child marriage and early unions in Belize. Surprisingly, in 2011, teenagers between 15 and 19-year-olds were getting married. That information, according to Executive Director Margaret Nicholas, was used to create a roadmap to end child marriage and early unions.
When we looked at the 2011 data, we noted that a number of young persons actually were married before the age of 18. In fact, they were between 15 and 19. And then when we looked at the 2015 data, that even added more information in terms of the evidence that we needed to proceed to accelerate actions to develop the roadmap. And so with the data from MIX, and of course with the support of UNICEF and UNFPA, we were then able to conduct, firstly in 2018, a 2-day workshop where we were able to gather people and to really and truly share the data with them in terms of what MIX was showing, and that in fact we were talking from an evidence-based perspective.
The Ministry of Education, on the other hand, has used information from MIX to look at early childhood development and literacy.
When we began to look at more qualitative aspects of the young child's life, how they were learning, what their home life was like, how they were being nurtured and sustained within families, it was clear that there was a lack of data. As it happens, about the same time, the 2015 MIX survey was published. And for us, that was a real treasure trove because the MIX being a household survey and being a large household survey, it was providing the kind of data that you cannot easily get from the usual statistics, which is just counting what people are doing. So one example that springs to mind is there is a question under the MIX survey about how many books young children have at home. And that is telling us, how many books children have at home and how many books which are appropriate for their age that children have at home is telling us a lot about the activities that families are doing with their young children.
A 2-week training for special constables ended this week in Sartaneja. The constables who work at the Shipstern Nature Reserve attended sessions on green law and learned about making arrests, building their cases, and what to do and not do when dealing with people violating the laws of the reserve. The special constables were sworn in at ceremony earlier this week.
Today marks a new chapter in your lives. As a law enforcement officer, you will be at some time or time and time again will be called upon to do the unthinkable. Though you probably will never believe so or perceive yourselves in such a light, you will be heroes in your own right and be called upon to perform deeds that few will ever understand, appreciate, or even be able to perform themselves.
Minister of Sustainable Development, Climate Change and Disaster Risk Management Orlando Hebet saluted the 29 park rangers graduating as special constables. The intensive training program was funded by the Protected Areas Conservation Trust and facilitated by instructors from the Police Training Academy, the National Biodiversity Office, and the Legal Counsel within the ministry. When News 5 returns, a day in the life of a Protected Areas warden. Meet Mario Che after the break.
Hello, Belize. You may not be aware of the new travel requirements set in place by the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. Passengers traveling to the U.S. must present a negative COVID test or a documentation of having recovered from COVID-19 to travel to the U.S. In light of this, Maya, in partnership with Caring Hands Clinic, have established testing centers in all their municipal airports. Caring Hands Antigen Test Center is operational in San Pedro, Belize City, Dangriga, Placencia, and Hopkins. These testing facilities are staffed by licensed healthcare professionals, including doctors, registered nurses, and nurse practitioners. Testing is done using Abbott rapid test devices that are FDA approved and made in the USA. The service is safe, fast, affordable, and the close proximity of the centers makes them convenient. Walk-ins are welcomed, but appointments are encouraged. If you would like to make an appointment, please feel free to do so at Make your appointment, get tested, and in 15 minutes, you can get back to your vacation.
Es un hecho que puedes obtener servicios ilimitados con Smart. ¿Cansado de que se corte la línea cuando más necesitas estar conectado? Es un hecho que cuando te suscribes al plan de Smart Plus, obtienes llamadas, textos y datos ilimitados. Y también es un hecho que te puedes suscribir con un grupo de 5 miembros al plan Smart Share y hasta 40 miembros al plan Smart Enterprise para llamadas, textos y datos ilimitados. Smart tiene los verdaderos planes ilimitados. Es un hecho. Sé Smart y vive de forma Smart.
Hola, Tony.
Hey, Kevin, ¿qué onda? ¿Qué pasa?
Nada, le vine a buscar porque necesito comprar más mercancías de vasos y platos desechables para mi tienda de comestible. Me estoy quedando sin esas cosas.
No, hombre, fíjate que desde el 15 de abril no puedo importar nada de eso. Y se me acaba de terminar todo lo que tenía hace como 3 semanas.
Oye, pero nunca has estado sin esas cosas. ¿Qué está pasando?
Mira esto. Esta es la nueva ley que prohíbe todo el uso de plásticos no reutilizables. Esos son vasos, platos, cucharas, tenedores, todo eso. Desde 15 de abril de este año no he podido importar nada de eso. A partir del 15 de enero del 2021 nadie puede fabricarlo. 15 de abril 2021 nadie lo puede vender. Y a partir del 14 de julio del 2021 si alguien te agarra con eso, te multan.
Híjole, no sabía eso. Necesito cambiar algunas cosas. Les diré a mis clientes por qué esas cosas ya no están disponibles. Gracias, Antonio.
Así es, cuídate.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness
is pleased to announce the opening of Phase 2 of our vaccination plan. We have vaccinated more than 76% of healthcare workers, and we are presently at 38% of adults over 60 years and over. Persons who are included in Phase 1 are encouraged to continue to come out and to be vaccinated. We are now inviting all teachers and police officers who are in Phase 2A and eligible to visit the nearest Ministry of Health and Wellness health facility. Teachers and police officers should bring along their relevant IDs and license to identify them as teachers and police officers. A vaccinated person brings us closer to stopping the pandemic against COVID-19. When it is your turn, go and get vaccinated. Love them, protect them, vaccinate them. Be COVID-19 safe. Get vaccinated, Belize.
As you saw earlier in the newscast, with the swearing in of the Shipstern wardens as special constables, there are many young people attracted to working in conservation and protecting Belizean wildlife and natural ecosystems. This is also the case for those employed by the Toledo Institute for Development and Environment. This NGO manages over 20,000 acres of private lands in southern Belize, some of which were purchased as part of the Debt for Nature swap agreement between governments of Belize and the United States. The deal allowed Belize to exchange debt for forest conservation funding. Someone has to monitor these areas to protect both the wildlife and the communities that border them. This is where the Tide Rangers come in. Jose Sanchez went along with Ranger Che to see what a typical day is like out on the Tide lands.
We're here on this patrol today. We came by to find this active camping site. Seems that it was used tonight or early this morning, and we didn't find anybody, but I believe that probably they heard us coming. So if we do find these people responsible for these actions, we either carry them in or summons them if we know the people. So we ask the public that we be careful with what we do as it affects our environment. Apart from just camping, we also see pollution left behind, as in waste, solid waste, and different things that we are sure of that will definitely get into the waters if not taken care of. We have plastics, cans that are left behind. We're not suggesting that camping continues to happen, but what we're saying is that please don't leave any solid waste behind, as it affects our environment, and leaving from here, going down the river, it ends up in the sea, and whereby we also have other species getting affected, as when it comes to manatees and different kinds of wildlife.
While coming up on this patrol, about 200 feet away from where the farm is, I got to smell the chemicals that was being used. So I'll leave it more ahead. We found out on the site where actually the chemicals were. We saw the bottles, of course, and then we took pictures of the area and of the chemicals, and then the owner of this farm who was using the chemicals as well approached us. He's one of the farmers that do farming along the river, the Rio Grande River. So he explained that yes, he do know about the usage of these chemicals that he's using, and that he also has the permit or license to buy these chemicals that he uses for his farm. He also explained that the community in a whole has this concern of people coming in to do or to use gill net on the Rio Grande River. So he explained that they want to work with us to address these issues. We have the Tide private protected lands along this Rio Grande River. So what we do is to ensure that we don't have people getting into the protected area or doing any kind of logging, hunting in the area. And as far as we can say, we have seen the minimization of these things happening. due to, again, the constant routine patrols that we do along the river, and as well as speaking to these people that we find on the river, and telling them about what tide is, and what is our goal, and that it all benefits us to in the longer run.
According to the Toledo Institute for Development and Environment, TIDE's goal is for its private protected lands to be conserved, maintained, and restored tropical forest ecosystems in order to sustain human life through the provision of clean air and water, and a safe haven for critical wildlife. In addition to conducting patrols, TIDE rangers carry out conservation education in schools and general public. And that's the news. Viewers are invited to join News 5 for a special extended report tonight at 8 o'clock called From Panic to Pandemic, COVID-19 a year later. We hope you will tune in for this extended coverage hosted by Isani Caetano. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.